Smile, John,
I'm
smile.
smiling, I'm smiling.
Good evening. It's September 29th, 2025, Monday. It's my pleasure and distinct honor to be speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Very good, thank
You
you.
look very nice in that sweater. Very nice. Let me ask you, did you have a good dinner?
Oh, yeah.
Good dinner, okay. All right. Is everything else fine?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking quite well. You're looking quite well. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich always lived his life by the golden rule, and he also believes yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, right?
Right.
Today we have the same situation. We have a lot of text messages and a lot of reading of your book. However, I haven't been reading your book much, so I think I'm going to start reading a few pages.
Okay.
Do you want to read for us?
No, go ahead.
Okay, just a brief note. Once the war was over, Mr. Jeckovich, once World War II was over, I just found this note, I think it's important to read. Mr. Jeckovich, once the war was over, the Uncle Sam decided he was going to get what's called a mustering out pay.
Yeah.
How much was that?
$300 a month.
No, a year. I mean,
A year,
the total.
a year,
Okay,
yeah.
let me clarify that. Uncle Sam was going to give Mr. Jeckovich a mustering out pay when he was released from the service on March 7th, 1946. A mustering out pay back then, it's a lot different now, is enough money that Uncle Sam thinks that'll get your civilian life back in order. So they gave you $300, and how did they pay you?
Once a month.
$100 a month, and the $300 was maxed out.
Big deal.
So that was your mustering out pay. Things were different back then. However, Mr. Jeckovich had a colonel. It was Colonel J.S. Harris, and he said, Mr. Jeckovich, we're going to give you a bonus, $21.95. What was that for?
Bus fare.
Yeah. So again, man, there was $21.95 bus fare to get back to Niagara Falls, even though he served the country loyally, and that, I guess that was a lot of money then, I don't know. And he was shot in the shoulder by a sniper. He was beat up, stabbed, bombed with a dirty bomb,
Yeah.
trench foot, frostbite.
Yeah.
Anything else I missed?
Lost a hip.
Lost a hip and still has shrapnel in his body. And to this very day, to this very minute, to this very second, 80 years later, this man is in pain with trench foot.
Yeah.
What's the pain level?
7.
What's the highest pain level?
7.
7. There you go. How is it at night?
Bad.
Bad?
Work at night because it's quiet.
Yeah. So here we go. We read Mr. Jeckovich's book totally one time around, and the book is titled Their Mother's Sons. And now we're the second time, and we're on page 285. He's actually in active war right now. It's called Snow Bunkers and Panzers. Let's see. How much is that book?
But
How much is that book?
not for sale.
So to answer your text questions the book is not for sale. The book was written for one reason and one reason only, to give the younger generations ideas on how to have a simpler and more wholesome life. A simpler with emphasis on a more wholesome life. How many pages?
849.
I know you didn't own a computer. I know you didn't Google. How'd you write this big
Yellow
beautiful
pages. Yellow pages.
book? Yellow legal pads.
Yeah.
Wow. What did it take you years to write?
Say again?
Did it take you years to write?
No, 6 months.
Wow, amazing. Are you working on your second book?
Notes.
Just notes. Mr. Jeckovich, by the way, was born in 1925, and now we're 2025, so this 100-year-old guy is amazing. We call him a national treasure. He never took a prescription, never took a vitamin, jogged for 80 years, reads 3 newspapers religiously every morning with no glasses. He could shake your hand with enough power to knock you to the ground. So here we go, we're gonna pick up in, I believe it's chapter 11, Snow Bunkers and Panzers, page 285, and Mr. Jeckovich is in the middle of the active duty in the Battle of the Bulge. And we were told to break up in small units, 10 to 12 men, and infiltrate back through the Germans. We were to take only necessary equipment and ammunition and destroy the rest. I decided to destroy the gun as we had only a half a belt of ammo left for it. And it would be burdensome to carry. That's the heavy duty machine gun.
Yeah,
Tripod weighs how much?
135 bullets.
Machine gun's heavy.
Yeah.
Lots of ammos, you know.
Yeah.
So you destroyed it.
Yeah.
They told you to move back. It'd be useless without any ammo. Besides, it would slow us down, you know, carrying that heavy machine gun. I pulled the breech and jerked out the firing mechanism and then bent the firing pin and then flung it as far as I could into this deep snow. That machine gun probably wasn't found till decades later.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of the receiver I emptied into water and banged it several times with my rifle butt. The tripod was bent out of shape and one of the legs was completely at a 90-degree angle. So they couldn't even use the tripod.
Oh.
It's completely destroyed. It's kind of funny that you use that heavy-duty machine gun and tripod and all the ammo bearers all those years during the war, and now you're told to destroy them and move back. I told the squad that we're strictly on our own and that we must stay close to one another when we pulled out. There were also to scrounge for water for canteens, and we would meet them near the church in 20 minutes. If they did not show up, again, go on without them. In exactly 20 minutes, Leip and I were at the church waiting for the rest of the squad. Already advanced elements of German paratroopers were entering the town, so you always seen these guys,
Yeah.
the paratroopers, and you have no support. Their blue uniforms showing through their white camouflage jumpsuits. They were the men of the 5th Paratroop Division who had just taken the bridge at Sauer, 5 miles south of Wiltz, and had separated into 2 advancing parties. Leip and I just missed running into them as we returned to the rendezvous at the church. So if you would have ran into all those hundreds of paratroopers, just you and Leip, it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be the end. It would be the end. They were all young, eager for battle, and all profoundly in a state of euphoria over their recent victories and their last offensive. They were ordered to bypass Wiltz and drive west, but these young, headstrong paratroopers had made up their minds to make a personal raid on Wiltz for booty. So they were told not to go to Wiltz, but the German paratroopers wanted to go through it anyways and raise hell.
Yeah.
And you happen to be right there. Happen to be right there, wrong place, wrong time. Our break came when we were surprised by a couple of American jeeps racing through town heading for Bastogne. The paratroopers picked up rifles and machine guns and fired at the jeeps, running the gauntlet. We hurried to the church where the rest of the squad were waiting for us, fearing that we had gotten caught in the firefight down the street. Artificial moonlight. Germans had brought up large floodlights powered by portable generators, now flooded most of the eastern and northern approaches to town. Those floodlights were extremely bright.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you could be spotted real easily.
Oh yeah.
How'd you get away from it?
We just go around them.
Go around them? Well, that was close. Our best chance of escape lay in the southern approach away from Bastogne. I figured we'd have a better chance by going away from it, rather than jamming our way into it. We could be of no use there since we had no guns and no ammo. Oh wow. And I did not relish being captured or killed as the SS did Malbonate. So the SS wouldn't capture you, they'd just kill you.
Yeah.
They didn't want to mess around. It was almost 2,400 hours and the shells were exploding in the streets of Wiltz. We could see the bright flashes they made as they burst. We're in the wooding area surrounded by large evergreen trees. Those trees must have been beautiful.
Yeah.
Sorry that there's so much pain and misery around those trees
Yeah.
during World War II. But you were in the Ardennes forest. It was the coldest winter record.
Yeah.
Snow waist deep. Oh my God. Yeah. I was trying to get my bearings so as not to be headed in the wrong direction, because you don't want to run back into the Germans, right?
Yeah.
We had traveled about a mile from Woltz and were proceeding cautiously as we did not want we traveled about a mile from Woltz and were proceeding cautiously as we did not run into any paratroopers, or worse yet, a panzer unit. You want to run into the panzer unit of a company of battalion strength advancing on the stone. The men were exhausted from wading through the waist-high snow. There you go. Luckily, the wind had died down, and it did not seem quite as cold as the other nights. My feet were soaking wet. That's how come you got the frostbite, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy, and he's still suffering today. As I changed my socks while we rested, I tried to think of the best possible way of outflanking the onrushing Germans. It would soon be daylight, and I let the squad rest until then. We would then push on until we hooked up with some other American outfit. Yeah. I set up a makeshift guard roster with 2 men on at all times. Where were you sleeping, in a barn?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As we sound asleep, curled up in a blanket. I had liberated several weeks ago. The guard on duty woke me, and I sat up and looked at my watch. It was 30 hours. Soon it would be light. I turned to the guard and told him to get some sleep, that I would take the remainder of the watch. I sat up, huddled in my blanket, staring bleary-eyed at the woods. I knew we could not stay here, and I certainly did not want to get captured. That was a big problem, getting captured.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thought of that ordeal convinced me that the only thing to do was push on. Hoping that we linked up shortly, I desperately wanted to brush my teeth
17 and a half.
as they felt like they're coated with sand, yeah. I thought better of it. I would look awfully foolish with a toothbrush in my hand and a German soldier glaring over me with a machine pistol. Yeah, wouldn't be good. I'm thankful no one in the squad was a heavy snorer. I do not know what I would have done if they had been. It was snowing lightly, and their sleeping bodies were soon covered with a fine white thick film. So you weren't in a barn at this time. You were sleeping outside in the snow.
Yeah.
I was rubbing my feet together, trying to keep the blood circulating more briskly. Yeah, I kept checking for frostbite. Was fortunate in that respect. You know, we learned so many things in World War II. One of the things we learned is from frostbite. If you guys go skiing this year and you're thinking you're starting to get frostbite on your hand or some other part of your body, don't run into the ski lodge and don't sit in front of the fireplace. That's the worst thing you do. Make a snowball and rub it on the frostbite area. That'll get the blood circulating again. What's one of the tricks they learned in World War II. I was not that cold, huddled up in the GI wool blanket. I guess I got acclimatized to the weather after a while. As I sat there rubbing my feet and looking about, but mostly listening, I thought of many things. I thought of Fink and the time that we're at the dance when he wanted Gene and me to accompany his friend to a local pub. I felt bad now that I refused him, and I wonder what his friend was doing now. She would never know what happened to him. It all seemed like a million years ago. I then thought of Jean and how she looked that night of the dance and how proud I was to have escorted her. I wondered what she was doing at this exact moment. I thought of Anne, of our last weekend together, and how I messed her up considerably by not knowing my true feelings about her. how some things were much clearer now than they ever were when I was with her. I would have done some things differently from what I've done at the time. I wonder now in retrospect how she put up with my immature behavior. I also thought about having forgotten and replaced me. I also thought about her having forgotten and replaced me with someone more mature and inner-directed. Just then I heard a twig snap, and I quickly flattened out on my stomach, clutching my M1 as I took the safety off. Did you always have the safety on your...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You did? Huh. I was hoping the rest of the squad had sense enough to lie still and not jump up. Sure enough, it was a segment of the same paratroop division, the 5th, on its way to Woltz. They must have gotten lost and veered off in the southerly direction. There were 20 or 25 of them a short distance from where I was resting. I held my breath as they passed. They were far enough to our right so they could not see our forms lying in the snow. Had there been another 20 feet closer, they would have stumbled over us. Oh, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
That would have been bad. It wouldn't have turned out nice. I lay still at the last of them passed. I did not move until I was sure that there was no more behind them. I got up quickly and gathered the men together for them to move out. Most of them had heard the Germans and were holding their breath until they were gone. As the paratroopers came from the east, I decided the best bet was head west, away from their line of march. I suddenly, because you didn't really know where to go.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of the Ardennes forest, snow waist deep, evergreen trees everywhere.
Yeah.
How the hell would you know where to go? We silently departed the area, crouching as we did, so as to make the least possible targeted movement. It was getting lighter by the minute, and I was hoping that we'd come upon one of our units. As we trudged through the snow, I kept looking for fresh tracks before falling snow covered them. I knew we were leaving a trail, but they could not be helped. So you got to leave a trail, right? In the snow.
Yeah.
We must have covered several miles since our encounter with the paratroopers. We still were going west, and I was sure we could come up on one of our units. The snow has stopped, and it was still bitterly cold. Stand by. Still bitterly cold. Winter day. We stopped for a break. As usual, there was no open fires despite our wet clothes and our cold bodies. We ate K rations for breakfast and had a couple swallows of water from our canteen. About 20 minutes we pushed on, still heading west. So now you're frozen solid.
Yeah.
Sweat turns into ice. Nothing to eat.
Yeah.
And the snow you get, the water you get from the snow, right?
Yeah.
Simple as that. We came upon a clearing and stopped short of it until we could determine what was ahead. I told everyone to stay put and lie low until I returned. I then headed for the tree line and circled around the clearing to see what was on the back side of it, thinking there might be a roadblock in the vicinity manned by a heavy .30 or machine gun pistols. How are those Nazi machine gun pistols? What do they look like?
Different than ours, different, all the way different.
Did you have machine gun pistols?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it too.
Okay. I cautiously maneuvered around the clearing as I peered through the high hedges. I saw what appeared to be a small village nestled in between a grove of pine trees. With the clearing to the front, getting closer, I could not determine who was occupying it. So you couldn't still figure out who's in that small village.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This might be the break we're hoping for, to find a friendly unit, an American of course, and finally get a chance to change clothes, some hot chow, and a warm place to get some needed sleep. Maybe it was too much to ask for. Did you run into, in the Ardennes Forest or any of your other frontline combat, did you run into Allied soldiers That
The
wasn't
souls, the
American.
souls, yeah, souls are all over the place.
What, did you run into a lot of British soldiers?
Huh?
British
No,
soldiers?
British were in another sector. We never see them. Never see them.
Where the hell were they fighting?
The place is big. The place is big.
They didn't come into the bar. They didn't come to Battle
Yeah.
of Balls.
Yeah.
How about the Russians?
Russians were on the other end.
So you never seen any British or Russian
No, we
soldiers?
just our own units.
You only seen American.
Yeah.
So even though there's a huge ocean between the United States and where you're fighting, the ones that are living next door, where the hell were they? Were they fighting in another place?
Oh yeah.
But they were good fighters then?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Getting closer, I could not determine who was occupying it. This might be a break we're looking for, a friendly unit, an American of course, and finally getting a change of clothes, some hot chow, and a warm place to get some needed sleep. Maybe it was too much to ask for. As I got closer, I could hear some movement and of the generator of some kind. I crept closer and made out several white stars on the doors of the military vehicles. Several white stars, so now American.
Yeah.
A glimmer of hope stirred within me. Perhaps we had gotten lucky. I got closer to make out the unit description on the bumper of one of the vehicles. It read the 447th AAA. It was an anti-artillery battery. The next obvious question, this is the big one, were they captured vehicles or were they American? That's what you have to find out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I saw no personnel about, and I lay low for a while, waiting for someone to come by. I did not have to long wait. The soldiers were approaching the Jeep. As they came closer, they looked American. All I wanted for us to hear one of them speak. So they looked American, but you said in the past, the Nazis dressed up as Americans.
Yeah.
Now you're waiting. Are you laying in the snow at this time?
Yeah.
You're laying in the snow, and you're waiting for them to speak. Suddenly one of them spoke. Hell, we gotta move again. This makes the 5th time in as many days. I got up and walked towards them, grinning ear to ear. They stopped short in their tracks and aimed their carbines at me. So, wasn't that dangerous walking towards them?
Well, they knew who they were.
I know, but still, they might have been gun, shoot for the sake of shooting. Suddenly, one of them spoke up. Hell, we gotta move again. I got up and walked towards them, grinning from ear to ear. They stopped short in their tracks and aimed their carbines at me.
7.
You know what?
So you're walking towards American soldiers that you thought might have been Nazis. I got up and walked toward them, grinning from ear to ear. They stopped short in their tracks and aimed their carbines at me. I raised my arms, and muttered, "Take it easy. We're GIs, lost and hungry." One of them said, "Prove it." I showed them my dog tags and told them we had come from Wiltz. Both of them explained Wiltz had been taken by the Germans several days ago. I replied, "Yes, we know. We were told to evacuate at that time." They felt confident I was not German and invited me to their makeshift mess hall. I told them I had a squad of hungry GIs out in the woods and asked if it's okay to bring them in. They said it was okay. Stand by. They said it was okay to bring them all in. That was good news, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere and you happen to find
Yeah.
your own guys. That was a beautiful story. Let me keep going. When I told them the squad we had come from upon an American outfit, they were jubilant and relieved. We must have looked like a tattered bunch of GIs, but they seemed accustomed as of late seeing American soldiers reaching their lines in this condition we presented. The CO, a major, came over as we were eating our first hot meal in several weeks. Wow. So up to this point, you're just eating K rations, right?
Yeah.
And wanted to know more about wolves. I told him all that I knew and experienced, and he seemed to satisfy him. he did mention that they're pulling out here and they were low on ammunition. So everyone's low on ammo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He also said that we would try to get in touch with their outfit and find out our orders. I told him we appreciated the hot meal, the extra clothing and socks. He smiled, patted me on the back, and told me to take care. I found out the name of the village we're in. It was called Holdingen, roughly 15 miles southwest of Wiltz. As we gathered up our equipment, we're still without our crew weapon. I thought just as well, it would only slow us down. A sergeant came up and realized a message from his CO. We were to hitch a ride with him as far as Holstham and then wait for transportation if there was any available. Our division was forming along the Orth River some 25 or 30 miles north of here. I told the squad at the first opportunity we had, we'd ditch the convoy and go our own way. How come you wanted to ditch the convoy, Mr. Jeckovich? How come you wanted to ditch the convoy?
Ditch?
You said, an outpost, I told the squad that the first opportunity we had, we would ditch the convoy and go out on our own again.
Yeah.
How come you didn't want to stay with the convoy?
Well, the group was getting too big.
Okay. We could attach ourselves to another unit and stay in the fight. They all agreed. As we boarded the 6x6s, we took positions to the rear of the trucks. At an outpost southeast of the crossroads, we had passed small arms, fire broke out, and some of the fleeing soldiers shouted out that there were German paratroopers all over here, just looking for a fight. I told the squad to get ready, that we'd be leaving shortly. They checked their weapons in preparation for our departure. Minutes, please. The fight at the crossroads was intensifying, with paratroopers firing their burp guns and machine pistols.
Just under 3.
The concentration of fire was spirited and powerful. As it swept the men of the 6x6s into the ditches on the evening of the side road, as we landed in the ditches, there were paratroopers coming up the draw. I opened up with my M1 and the 2 paratroopers 20 yards ahead of us staggered. They dropped to the deep snow. Lape was firing his .45 but was not hitting anything. Why was Lape using a pistol?
No, he's a driver. He's a driver.
Okay. Some of them would hit, and I could see 2 of them go down with severe head wounds. I motioned to the rest of the squad to get out of the ditches and into the woods. Get out of the ditches and into the woods.
Why did you want to get out of the ditches and into the woods?
You're more secure in the woods than you're in the ditch.
Okay.
Okay. Covering snow in a bright red. Went down covering, okay, they went down, the soldiers went down, covering the snow in a bright red. Yeah, blood. I slipped and slid up on one of the embankments, which was sheer ice. I came to the crest as there was a young okay, here's a good point. As I came to the crest, there was a young paratrooper, Nazi paratrooper, grinning at me. His machine gun pistol aimed at me. I was caught flat-footed, so he had a drop on you.
Yeah.
No way would I have time enough to bring up my rifle to fire it at him. I could feel the rounds from his machine gun shattering my flesh, and I cringed at the thought of it. He quickly dropped his machine gun to his side and motioned me into the woods. I thought, hell, I'm captured. I'm a PW. I turned to look back and he was gone. Confused and very relieved, I ran into the woods. So that guy gave you a second life.
Yeah.
I hope that young soldier had a long life.
He was a paratrooper, one of the
Yeah,
German paratroopers.
I hope he had a long life.
Yeah.
He saved this man's life.
Yeah.
Minutes?
40 seconds.
So, that paratrooper had a drop on you.
Yeah.
He didn't
He's
shoot.
a young kid too.
Young kid, you're both 19.
Yeah.
And so he turned his back, and you could have popped him, but he knew that you already had this instant trust.
Oh, yeah.
I truly hope that your young Nazi
Yeah.
paratrooper had a long and beautiful and productive life, because he saved this man's life.
Yeah. 20 seconds.
You remember that like yesterday?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So he had a drop on you.
He was lucky.
What do you want to do now, Mr. Jeckovich?
Well, what time is it?
Well, this is over in a second. What do you want to do now? You want